You tune to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is a program called Alive with Bhavna. It's our pleasure, as always, to have in the studio Bhavna. And today we're talking about exploring mindfulness. And we've actually got a topic that we're going to talk about today. But Bhavna, before we get there, first of all, you're now a star of stage and screen on YouTube. Say hello to everyone, Bhavna.
Hello.
Just to remind our listeners what mindfulness is all about, Bhavna.
So mindfulness is about learning how to be in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
The power of now kind of stuff. Really what that means is, can you connect with your five senses in this moment?
Yeah.
Can you actually be aware of what you're seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, rather than being distracted with your thoughts?
Yes, and being mindful is quite easy, and I've become much more mindful as I've got older. And there's an old saying, you know, take time to smell the roses. Well, we generally just walk past them, don't we? Why do you think mindfulness comes more easily to us as we get older?
Don't think it comes more easily when you get older. Some people do. But most people, we live the way we live.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I volunteered at hospice, they said the same thing. People approach death the same way they approach life. So just because you're getting older doesn't mean all of a sudden you wake up and start smelling the roses if you've never done.
Mm.
It's a switch in consciousness. It's a choice that you decide, okay, I'm going to actually start living, and then you will start smelling the roses, rather than it's purely age.
But do you normally find it's more common in older people, or
No,
doesn't?
no, right across the board. Yeah.
Do you normally find that I'm trying to get you here? Do you normally find that people who are mindful, much as yourself, tend to be slightly alternative? That they're happy to embrace things like mindfulness, like homeopathic remedies, like Reiki, like, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, but I don't think so. Mindfulness isn't about being alternative. Mindfulness is just about learning how to celebrate life, and I don't need to be alternative.
No, but in a perfect world, you're right. But mostly, do you find alternative people are more mindful?
Okay.
Come on, yes, you do.
No, I mean, if I look at the people that come for my retreats or workshops or stuff like that, a lot of them are your average Joe Blog. You know, there'll be teachers, or there'll be this, or there'll be accountants, or there'll be people who've lost their job and now decide, okay, I don't know what to do. There's just no type of person. Yeah.
Interesting that you say that, because when we talked last month, we talked about lies that we tell ourselves, and you were mentioning a retreat that you ran, and in that conversation you mentioned that you had a full house.
Yeah.
20 people turned up. There were only 20 places, but 19 of them were women.
Yeah.
Why is that? Are women want to be more mindful, or are more mindful than men? Is that what you found with the people that actually turned up?
No, I mean, generally and it is, women generally come more for, like my retreats have been more women, and maybe it's the topic, self-love, that is more attractive to women. But when I go for mindfulness for change workshops, that is the only group, only mindfulness group that I've been to, where there's probably more men, and they have the biggest age range from 20-something right up.
Why would that be? Because it's more business oriented. We want a mind change because we want to get ahead.
Don't know. I think it's just the group who runs it and the dynamic nature of them, and that's the one group that. So when I go for mindfulness for change stuff, it's just the most diverse group ever.
I wonder, have you ever read a book called How to Make Friends and Influence People?
Yeah.
I might suggest to you, I read it. I thought it's one of the most marvellous books I've ever read. I must have read it 10 times. I've got the original hardback copy from out of the 1940s. And apart from, and I know it's been rewritten many times and probably updated, but I might suggest to you that the people who got the most out of that book were already going to be successful anyway. They were just being reinforced by reading what Dale Carnegie had to say. Whereas people like myself, I thought, wow, I'd love to be like one of those guys. But I didn't either have the confidence or the will to take those steps that those people
Yeah.
in that book were all about. So,
And
how do you
that's kind of, I guess, linking back to last month's topic of that idea of lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
In that sense, that those are self-limiting beliefs where we don't have the courage to. We get an idea and we read this thing and we go, "Wow, I want to be that person."
Yeah. Or we have the intelligence to recognise that we're never going to be those people, so we don't
No.
want to make a big fool of
That's
ourselves.
another lie telling ourselves.
Today we're going.
But we're not talking about lies
Today we're
today.
talking about free will. What is free will? We've all got free will, haven't we?
Yeah, what does free will mean to you, Ken?
Well, I suppose in a perfect world, the free will means that doing whatever you want, whenever you want, anytime you want to.
Yeah.
But life's not like that.
No?
You know,
No.
free will. I suppose I have free will that I'm doing a job that I love. Got great kids, got a great wife, got great family. Yeah. And my free will is to get up and enjoy that every single day of my life. What does it mean to you?
Yeah. Yes, that, but on a deeper level, it means, so, being alive with Bhavna and talking about mindfulness, it's not so much about the outside concept of free will, but it's more the internal stuff, because that's all that mindfulness is about, a state of being. So for me, free will is that idea of I have the free will to live consciously the way I want. That idea of I'm allowed to be me, full stop.
What does that mean now?
Or I'm allowed to not be me.
What does that mean in
Well-
real? To put that in terms that a Joe Blow like me can understand, it sort of sounds like a bit sort of la-di-da stuff there. Sort
Okay.
of flowery.
Okay, linking back to last month's talk about that scale of 1 to 10. Okay, for me, free will means I have a right or a choice whether I want to live as a 10 and express my wholeness in whatever way it comes up today. So whether it's belly dancing or singing or sitting in the corner crying, I can express myself fully. Or I can believe the lies that I've told myself and think of me as less than, and therefore I can't do anything and live in victim mentality.
Yeah.
Either way, in terms of life or energy, I'm still whole.
So how would the average person who's come to you say, yeah, I want to explore more my free will? What does that mean? To me, free will means that you can actually go and do stuff without anyone saying, no, you can't do that, but you can't just do anything you like, can you?
You can choose your energy that you live your life with. And that is what free will is about.
So what's that
I
free
can
will just inside your
choose-
head?
Well, it manifests in, like you said, that idea of got a wonderful wife, children, whatever. You have a choice to enjoy that and celebrate that. Or you have a choice to focus on your lacks. What
Yeah.
are you lacking in life? And that idea of, I don't know.
Poor me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad thing though, is it?
Well, it stops you from living and celebrating what you do have.
Sometimes though it's easy to say, and it's easy for you to say it, and it's easy for us to read it in a book that, you can do anything you like, but if you'd like to have the free will to say, you'd like to have some time off, but you've got to go to work. There's not a thing that you can't do without money.
Yep.
Not one thing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you want to, I'd like to take 6 months off and find my true self. I went to one of these things that Bhavna puts on a retreat, and Bhavna said that, find the real you, Ken. Go out there. And I think, I'm going to find the real me. I'm going to take 6 months off, but I can't because I've got to work.
Yep. Free will basically means, for me, is that idea of, kind of what you're saying, is that idea of you made your bed, you got to lie in it.
Yes.
Okay. But the part that's missing in this is you have a choice of how long you lie in your bed. So you want to take 6 months off, great, save up.
Sure.
Do what you need to do to achieve that dream, like you spoke about last time, in that sense of you saw a fat guy in the mirror.
That's right.
You took charge. You didn't sit there in the poor me going, okay, there's a fat guy in the mirror, I don't like him. Well, maybe you did that
I
for a
didn't like
while.
him, yeah.
You did that for a while until you decided, I'm sick of looking at him. I'm going to do something about it. And that's free will, that idea of I have the power to change my mental mindset with regard to this. If I really want to take a holiday, How am I going to achieve that dream?
There's a problem with that, though, Bhavna, is that life gets in the way. You know, for instance, let's explore that. Takes 6 months off. To take 6 months off, the average person's probably got to have $25,000 in the bank. We're talking, you know, someone like me that if you've got a family to run, you've got a mortgage to pay, you've got to pay your bills, and then you're saying, well, save up and take 6 months off. It's just not realistic, though, is it? So the free will that I might have had, you put this free will thing in my head, and I always find that was the problem with motivational courses that I went on. They put these ideas in your head that you can do anything, when the reality is actually many times quite different from what they put into your head.
So if your desire for going out there for 6 months is to find yourself, okay, can you start finding yourself now? Because it's not about the 6 months off. It's about the idea of going, I want to find me. I want to discover me. Cool. Can I do that in my current circumstances? Can you come for 1 day retreat or 2 day retreat with me? You don't need 6 months off for that. You need a weekend.
Yeah.
So it's that idea of what actually is the intent behind what you want. If the intent is I want to find me, you don't have to go anywhere to find you. You don't need 6 months to find you because, well, you never lost you.
It's funny that you say that, though, because I was reading a bit of a blog on the weekend, and it was about someone who had gone overseas on their own, like on an OE, and they didn't want to do the things that other people did. They didn't want to go and see the Eiffel Tower and then go and see the Louvre and go and see Big Ben in London. They just wanted to find themselves, and I wonder what they were looking for.
And that's kind of one of the other lies we tell ourselves, is I need to find myself. You were never lost. How can you lose you? You.
But they have this free will to go and do that. They're going to go and find themselves. Is that what you find, that people say, well, I need to find myself, Bhavna?
That's a load of crap, because you never lost you just lost the connection with yourself.
But you must find it that people say it too often.
Yeah. And that's why people come for retreats, because they want to find themselves. And my job is to help them realize that they were never lost. All they did is they lost contact with themselves. So this is about reconnection. It's not about, and that's what free will is. I can live fully connected with myself, and then I can decide, okay, what am I going to do with this energy? Or I can live in the victim seat.
So what are some of the things that prevent the average person that comes to see you? What are some of the things that prevent them having free will?
The belief that life has to be hard, that I have to struggle. I'm an adult now. I can't laugh, play, celebrate. Got to be serious, got to harden up.
I'm the opposite of that. And I think probably most people are, aren't they? That all the guys that are in the circle of people that I hang out with, they all love getting down to the same level as their grandkids.
Yeah.
You know, they have a big laugh, and we still have laughs that we had 30 years ago, because the circle of friends that I run in, we've been friends for over 30 years, and we enjoy life. You know, we're mostly still working. Some of the guys are retired, but we haven't changed.
Yeah.
We still.
And it's that idea of learning, remembering that we're still allowed to play. Okay, a lot of people who come and see me have forgotten that idea that they're allowed to play, they're allowed to have fun, they're allowed to relax. So in that sense, their free will has become life is hard, and that's it. We can choose what we want, how we want to live our lives, and they've chosen that. Well, as an adult, you got bills to pay and you got this. Yeah, that's true. But I can still enjoy life and pay my bills, or I can trudge and pay my bills. How I pay my bills is my choice. And that idea of you saying you love your job, you love coming here, means that, you know what, I'm doing what I love. And yes, the money I get, I pay my bills. Great.
It all comes back to money, though, doesn't it?
Well, in this context.
Yes.
In terms of free will, it means whether I can live with an open heart or with a closed heart. Do I see the world as scary and dangerous? And people who've been abused, that's kind of what they've experienced the world to be. So they close their lives off and they close their hearts off.
You can understand that, though.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's about that idea of how to open that heart again,
Mm.
how to live freely again. And that for me is free will. Whether I live a really difficult, horrible world where I'm constantly afraid, or I'm celebrating and enjoying my family and enjoying the things I can do and celebrating life.
So if you had to, I don't know, say give us 5 bullet points. Okay, well give us 3 bullet points of how to rediscover our free will. What would you say to people? What would be the 3 main things that you could say to people listening to this program right now or watching you on YouTube? What would you say to them? If you do these, get this process underway right now,
Yeah.
what would they be?
The first thing is starting with mindfulness and that idea of getting into your body.
Mhm.
Because as soon as we get into our body and connect with reality, I kind of realized, wait, actually in this moment, I'm not in danger. In this moment, I actually don't have any problems.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. Physically, I'm fine. There's nothing dangerous happening here. So it's trying to connect with more with the present and going, oh wait, in this moment I'm okay. Then my mind goes, oh yeah, but what about that? And it's like, ooh, okay, cool. Come back here. Come back to this moment. What's real now? And it's training yourself to stay more in the present. And the more I stay in the present, the less I believe those lies,
Mm-hmm.
the less impact they have on me, the more I'm able to breathe easy.
Yes.
Really. So it's not even 3 points. It's just one simple point of connecting with your heart, learning how to open your heart first to yourself.
Is this something that I could read? I mean, you're a well-read person, so would you recommend that I actually start, other than coming to see you, of course, which would be ideally what we would do, if I wanted to self-improve, what would you recommend I do? Just do it in my head, or are there some good books that I could go and check out?
It's like swimming. You can't read a book on swimming. You can read a book about swimmers, but you can't read a book on how to swim. You have to, you can probably read a book on how to swim, but you can only start swimming the second you put your head in the water.
Sure.
And that's the same thing with mindfulness. There's tons of books out there,
Yep.
but we do mindfulness conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
and we grab the concepts, which are great, but it doesn't translate into living. It's the same way I know I should eat properly and sleep properly, sleep 8
Yeah.
hours and do this and do that. I got the knowledge, but it's not wisdom because I'm not living it.
So what he's saying that those books, let's include motivational books, in that they're a waste of time.
No, they're great for planting the seeds,
Mm?
but we have to, like you spoke about Dale Carnegie,
Mm.
it's brilliant. But if you only stop at it's a brilliant book and don't follow through with the exercises and the ideas, that's as far as it is.
What's
It's
the
a
point of
brilliant
reading
book. It's a brilliant book.
Yes.
It's cognitive stimulation, but it doesn't change your life in any way.
And the same would apply for someone coming to see you for one of your retreats. And this was my other point about motivational things like you're doing and creating mindfulness awareness, is that it's great for the weekend, but you get home, life gets
Yeah.
in the way, a couple of weeks later, that was a great retreat I went on, but geez, what was that all about again? And you're not doing any of it.
Yeah.
Except for people like yourself, perhaps, who, you're living the
Yeah.
life, aren't you?
But that's it. It's finding, like most people, when I got into mindfulness, it was more off than on.
Mm.
Okay, I started off with Vipassana, so it started off with 2 hours of daily practice, then it became 1 hour daily practice, then it became 1 hour a week, and then it became 1 hour a month, then kind of faded.
Yeah, that's right.
And then it came back to, oh wait, I must do this 1 hour a month. But it's kind of like you and running.
Yeah.
As soon as we see it and we go, I like this is good for me, we'll make time to do it.
It's a funny thing because,
Until we don't,
yeah,
it's a good idea.
I have mentioned to you before, I don't like running. I like after running.
Mm.
So I get home, I'm sweating like a pig, can hardly move sometimes, and I think, I'm really glad I did that.
Yeah.
But actually to get myself out running, sometimes I've really got to push myself and say, oh God, here I go. But once I get on the road,
Not a problem.
and so what I'm really looking at, and we spoke about it about one of your ladies in the last episode was if she got fit and healthy, she would feel better about herself. That's why I run. I run so I can feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because, I can run. It's just that I feel better about doing it.
Yeah.
And I do feel fitter, I feel healthier. And the main reason I do it, Bhavna, is because I want to live longer.
Yeah. But there's an incentive to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than this idea of, and that's it, you come for a retreat, you find out what mindfulness can give you, and it's the idea of going, actually, I want to stay connected to this. So it's not just a motivational talk of come for the retreat and bugger off and don't ever do this.
Yes.
It's how do you stay connected to this? How do you keep reminding yourself so that you keep that feeling going, so that it's not a flash in the pan and sorry, see you again.
When you run a retreat and you have 20 people turn up, and I'm sure they leave highly motivated, do you ever follow up with them 6 months later and say, how are you guys getting on now? Do you find that it's a big take-up of what you've done, or are they like me and they think most of them drift off and they're back to where they were and they need to come back and see you again? Is that what happens, or?
So I offer a follow-up.
Yep.
So basically what I do is I have a monthly supervision group.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's done any of my retreats are welcome to come for that. And it's just a way of keeping the fire going.
Yep.
You fan the fire and
Sure.
stoke it and stuff like that. And that's basically that option is there.
Yeah.
I also offer these podcasts in terms of going, you know what, if you don't want to come for supervision, but you just want something to re-trigger this,
Mm-hmm.
do this, because anything that we want to grow in, we need community.
Yeah.
You want to be a good musician, you hang out with musicians.
Sure. Of
Same
course.
thing with this. You want to grow in this, you hang out with people who do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We're just about out of time. Can you believe it? Where did that time go? Now, you've got a competition coming up. Tell us about that.
So, competition is, coffee with me.
Yum.
Yum. So, a life psychology will show the coffee. How you get to Napier is your choice.
Yes.
So, especially if you're international, how you get to Napier is your choice. And just to be in the competition, just leave a comment on the Life Psychology's Facebook page about the show. And winners will be notified on Monday, the 25th of June.
Okay, so what's your Facebook page called?
I don't know, Alive.
It's called
Alive
Alive?
Psychology.
Yeah, so we just type in Alive on Facebook and it'll take us straight to your Facebook page.
Yeah, Alive Psychology, yeah.
Alive Psychology. And what else is on your Facebook page? I mean, what else can we learn by visiting your Facebook page?
So there's regular little thoughts of the day or thoughts of the week or
Yep.
upcoming events. And on that we have Mandela Day coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So Mandela Day is on Saturday the 22nd of July
Yep.
at the Napier War Memorial Centre. It's a free event for anyone to come to. There'll be free talks, workshops, massage, Reiki, reflexology, just free 15-minute treatments.
Yep.
Entertainment, everything is for free on Mandela Day. So see you on Saturday the 22nd of July at the War Memorial.
Yes.
I think it's from 10 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
to about 4.
Do you also have a website?
Yes, I have a website. It's alivepsych.co.nz.
And there's a much more in depth. The information that we can get from your website is totally different to what we get on your Facebook, or the two intertwined?
Different stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, some of it is intertwined, but some of it is completely different.
Yes, and we
Yeah.
want to come and see you, Bhavna. Just remind our listeners exactly where you are.
So I'm 50 Dalton Street, above Glassons in Napier,
Mm-hmm.
and the phone number is 022 08 43 095.
And you are open what days?
Tuesday to Friday.
And I can just bowl in, or got to make an appointment?
Got to make an appointment.
Give us that phone number again.
022 08 43 095.
Now, we're going to end on a song from one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, The Greatest Showman. The song is called This Is Me, which would have fitted in perfectly with what we talked about, but we haven't got time.
Oh.
So maybe next time. Take it easy, Bhavna.
Cheers, Ken. Bye.